In today's video, I'm gonna show you guys how I made this bouncy UKG drop.
So when I step in the high road, I see CCTV and cameras. They're going hard for the riches and fortunes. From the street vendors to the bankers, boys in blue who's looking for no problem. There's a price to pay when you're a black man. There's a next door pressure in both sides. Don't give a fuck, I'm calling the tax man. Yeah, so welcome to London, fam. Over here we got that in abundance, fam. Some are homeless, some are reckless. You'll get fucked if you fuck up on the London gang. Sterling, they run up on the London brands. Put working and mash up on your London blacks. You can't argue with Mr. Charge you congestion. That's on a London scam.
Comment down below if you thought that was fire. This is a free FLP. The first link in the description of this video will bring you to the download link. The SERUM presets won't be in that project file. Instead, they'll be consolidated as audio files. But if you want the SERUM presets and be able to mess around with them and make them your own, then check out METAMORPHOSIS. It's also linked in the description of this video. And that is my preset pack. Alright, without further ado, let's get into it. No matter what, I always say that the drums are just a fundamental of everything. So let's start with the kick. Nice and punchy kick from my free drum kit, MADLOUD. You can also find it linked in the description. And I've just shortened it slightly. And if you look at the parametrics EQ, you can see what we're hitting here. Pretty much the same levels from sub to mid, and then a little bit of higher frequencies reaching lower levels there. Nice and punchy. And then I'll touch on this in a moment, but all the drums are going into a drum bus with a compressor. Alright, so we're hitting 4 in the floor, but as you can see here, we're also hitting on the swing. So check out this little bit here, this cheeky little bit. So take a look at this, right? In order to achieve swing, all we need to do is go on snap to grid and then put 1/3 step, and you'll see these lines. This is a beat, this is a half beat, this is a quarter beat. 4 quarters of a beat obviously make 1 beat, but once we've divided this into 4, you can see this last one is not actually hitting on the last quarter. Instead, it is just slightly shifted off 1/3. There you see, and it's the same here. 1, 2, 1/3 off, and then 3, because it's on the offbeat, it is on. This is just a little bit of swing theory, I suppose you can call it, and it's just a kick, the same exact file, just kind of muted a little bit, brought down 8.7 decibels. By the new FL Studio, you could just drag it down here or up however much you like. Those are our kicks, basically. Next up, we've got our snare. I love this snare. It is so in your face. As you can see, we're hitting mids and above. Pretty much everything that kick wasn't really hitting that much. So this kick and snare together compress into the same compressor to sound like this. When it just sounds so crunchy, you know you're on the right path. If you're not, try to mess around with the samples. Try to mess around with your compressor. I'm using a Nani. You can really use any compressor you like. Next up, our hat. So check this out, right? Normally I have a hat on every offbeat, like so. However, this time we're hitting the offbeat and the first beat of every bar. So if that's a bar, that's the second bar, it's hitting the first beat of that bar at just -6 decibels. Then that's going into the same compressor that the kick and snare are going into. So when you compress the kick and snare together with that hat that's on the bar, punchy sound. I just love it. I love it a lot. And in terms of the hat itself, if you'd like to see the EQ. Next up, we've got this drum loop from MADLOUD, which is going into that same drum bus. So together they sound like this, all the drums so far. Groovy. Lastly, I've got my signature break that isn't in the MADLOUD pack, but I probably will just put it in. Check it out. And as you can see, we're just modulating the volume here to act like a sidechain, because without it, we would be compressing way too hard with that kick and snare, because there's a snare on the sample. So with that sidechain on and all the compressor stuff acting, everything together, you know what I always say, if it just isn't sounding right at this point, then I wouldn't say go forward yet. You know, try to fix this, try to make it sound sick. That was it for the drums, which brings us on to the bass line. What is that? I've never heard something like that ever before. Well, that's the magic of Metamorphosis. Again, you can find it in the description. The actual preset, and what we're doing is playing with the LFO, which is hitting the downsample distortion and ever so slightly the coarse pitch. So check this. If I put this up, it'll be going down. But we got it going up. And then this LFO is on the filter cutoff. And so again, for you guys, this will be audio files, which you can use however you like. But again, if you want the presets, you already know what to do. Next up, we've got this punchy sub. Which in reality is just playing F sharp and G. But I want to hit both octaves just for the ear candy. So we got... You can kind of see it on the millimeters here, but it doesn't actually tell you which values. So I'm going to open up the parametrics EQ here for you. We're hitting around the 90 hertz with a sub, and then also the sweet and juicy 44 hertz, which is really what you should be targeting. It's unique this way. So together it will sound like this. And then the last thing that we're layering as sort of this like sub hits in the beginning. Way stereo enhanced, but basically it's also a preset from my pack. Originally just square wave, but with 2.39%, something like that, sync. Without the sync it sounds like this. So with the sync you can really make a new sound. And then to equalize that out, we obviously don't want any of the sub hitting because this is layering together with that sub. You might be able to hear we've got this sort of like keys going on, which is more loud in the second part here. It's made up of two presets, both from Metamorphosis. The first one sounds like this. Just very anxious sounding, very nervous. And then the second one sounds like this. Very UKG style. With a love filter, just kind of put it way in the background because we've got a whole drop going on with a vocal and everything. We don't need to put anything foreground anymore. It fills the space that it is dedicated to. Alright, and then the like effects that kind of put stuff together. This snare from before, I'm playing it in a sort of like roll, which is layering together with this break. But yeah, otherwise we've got this reverse sort of effect sound. We've got this vocal shot. And this other vocal shot that's reversed. There's also a very simple like ride coming into the second part of the first part of the drop. Alright, and the last thing, obviously we got this vocal, which, hey, unfortunately that's not me. I wish it was, but this is Flowdon, the best MC right now, mixing grime, UKG, and bass house all together. We got the Flowdon is just the king. I mean, check this out. Here's the main sample.
Welcome to London, yo. That's how we function. That's how we function.
And then I just used the same sample, but with some effects like Little Altar Boy, OTT to kind of reduce the mids and lows, and then Vocodex to boost the lows that we've just deleted. It's kind of a little weird of trick. As you see, only playing between the bass and mid, we'll kind of get this effect. Just kind of boosting the low end because his voice is just so nice in the low ends together.
So when I step to the high road, I see CCTV and cameras. They're going hard for the riches and fortunes, from the street vendors to the bankers, boys.
And that's it, guys. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, be sure to subscribe, like the video, and go make an absolute banger. Peace.
So when I step to the high road, I see CCTV and cameras.